The subject today is a thing called financial education, which is a very big subject. And the real key here is this: there's financial education for the poor, there's financial education for people who are middle class, and there's financial education for those who want to be rich. That something may disturb you because some of you are actually still poor people. You can make a lot of money and still be poor.
Right, it's that person's choice and their freedom.
Yeah.
Believe in freedom as a core value.
Yeah, you want to be poor, have a good time. You know, I've been poor, I've been happy, and I've been middle class, and I've been happy, and I've been rich, but I've been happier.
Yeah.
So today you're going to find out once again, if you're poor, you know, what is financial education for you? If you're middle class, what's the best financial education for you? And then what is rich? Again, I want you to hear that we're not trying to make fun of anything or any of the viewers or listeners. It's really important you know who you are. Like I said, I've been poor and I was quite happy being poor. And I've been middle class and I've been rich. But for me to change, I had to change whose advice I listened to. When I read the book, you know, I think it talked about, I don't know, it's been 96, and my book came out in 97. I go, oh, geez. So in 96, I read about it, you know, and, you know, today I don't drive one Ferrari, I drive two Ferraris. Now, and let me tell you something, I feel better than a Ferrari, you know what I mean? It's a wonderful car, but so is a Toyota. So for most people, they should drive a Toyota Prius, right? This is what we're getting at here. You see, it's your values, right? Values. So when you read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, now you're struggling with Stanley's book about the millionaire next door. And how you became a millionaire was interested. It was very easy in 1996 to become a millionaire just because the economy went like this in America. So you bought a house, let's say, when you're 25 for, let's say, $80,000, and by, you know, some years later, the house is now worth $1 million. And that's how you became rich. You were getting rich by being frugal and riding the U.S. economy up, investing in the stock market. It went up. But the problem is today it's not going this way, it's going this way. So that's why The Millionaire Next Door is still a good book, but you may be going this way.
You might ride that wave all the way down and crash.
So that's the point. The point is what's inside of you. You know, are you happy with a Toyota Prius? Knock yourself out. I'm not. Okay, if you understand that point of it. Like, I've always had nice cars because I like nice cars. I love nice cars.
I know we've had some of the same cars in our past,
And my first car was like 1969 Corvette, and I graduated from college in 1969. You know, so I was really happy, and I did other things to pay for the car. That's the reason I like this book here, is Killing Sacred Cows. It's what's really killing a lot of people financially is they have a sacred cow. Like, you know, the old sacred cows that worked for my generation are, you go to school, but you learn nothing about money. You get a job, and today kids are going to school and they're finding no jobs, but they're deeply in debt. Okay, you save money, and why would you save money when the Fed is printing trillions of dollars? And you buy a house because your house is an asset, and in 2007 the housing prices plunged, they got wiped out. And I think the worst thing of all, between what we agree on, is invest for the long term in a 401k full of mutual funds. So those are sacred cows. Why would you save money when the Fed has admitted to printing $4 trillion? Because they can print it faster than you can save it. And then this thing about get out of debt. I mean, debt is money, you know, but it's good advice for the poor and middle class and all this stuff. So these are some of the sacred cows. Right, and again, I want to reiterate this. There's poor, middle class, and rich. And the cash flow game teaches people to be rich. And there's other people who don't want to be rich, they just want to be middle class, which is their choice. It matches their spirit. So here we are in 2015. This is what we're saying, guys. There's poor, middle class, and rich, and there's advice for poor people. A lot of people like being poor. And you want to be middle class, there's great advice for you. And you want to be rich, there's great advice for them. So I just want to say this, okay? A financial plan is great. You learn a lot of things in it, how to budget, and you learn about wills and trust and insurance. There's things that are very valuable in it. But they're selling you something. That's the whole point here. So if you want to be poor, it's a great plan. And the thing that I always cringe at, because it happened to me when I went to work for the Xerox Corporation, I go into my HR, human resource person, they sit me down and they say, now choose which mutual fund you want in your plan. The real subject is, do you want to be poor, middle class, and rich, and who do you listen to? So my point is, we're repeating, because repetition is how we learn, is there was this great book, The Millionaire Next Door, and it worked because the stock market was going up. This is Stanley. Like I said, my father bought a house, I think in 1967. It was $50,000, $1.2 million, $1.4 million a few years later. The trouble is he couldn't sell it because he had no place to go. So he was a net worth
No
millionaire.
cash flow coming in.
No cash flow, and he lost his job, and he was all this
But his
stuff.
taxes were going up.
Yeah, his property taxes went up. So there's a lot of people who are millionaires, but they're broke. If you can understand that, isn't that true?
Yeah. Net worth is relatively worthless if you can't convert to cash flow.
That's right.
That's the bottom line.
So there's millions of baby boomers right now, my age, who are in trouble, right?
Yep.
They're in serious trouble. And the reason they're serious, I won't go into too much detail, but between 2008 and 2015 today, what the federal government did, the U.S. Treasury, is they borrowed out the money from the pension plans of government employees. So the pension plans are empty, as is Social Security.
Security's empty.
Yeah, Social Security is empty. So all of you right now who are my age, let's say you're 50 plus, and you're going, well, I'm going to have a happy retirement. The real truth is, the odds are, it's not that you'll die poor. The odds are you'll run out of money before you die. I'm going to say this. What's going to happen, let's say you're, like, say, real old, 67 or 68, and you're out of money and out of a job? What's the point here? Most of you, if you're baby boomers, you're going to run out of money before you die. That's the worst. Those who are following the old rules or the old sacred cows, you're going to get hammered. So this is how we make changes, okay? And this is the whole message of today's program with Garrett. There's advice for poor people, there's middle-class people, and rich people. If you like being poor, then Susie Orman is your best teacher. You know, what she says is cut up your credit cards and live below your means. You know, for most people, that's good advice, right?
Yeah.
It's fantastic advice. You won't
If
get
you're
rich.
spending more than you make, you got to listen to that.
And it's not, well, the point that, you know, Garrett's making here is not how much you make makes you poor. What makes you poor is you spend more than you make. So, you know, I have a friend who says, you know, he makes a lot of money as an attorney. He says, my wife has a black belt in spending. You know, she shops all day long. So let's say he makes $1, she'll spend 10. So when Susie Orman says, cut up your credit cards, fantastic advice. Because if you don't stop that, you'll never be rich anyway, right? That's the problem. So Susie, I love it when she had her show. That person, if they don't change that, if they don't stop spending more than they make,
nothing else will save them.
you know, because they'll, you know, so then to get the higher paying job, they just spend more money.
Yeah, it's Parkinson's law. The more they make, the more they spend.
Yeah. And so that's why Susie Orman's fantastic advice for poor people. And then for the middle class, we have a whole bunch of people, okay? We have number 1 millionaire next door with Stanley. And also we have Dave Ramsey. He is a friend of mine. He has fantastic advice. You want to be middle class? Live debt free. And people go, oh, that's such a good idea. You know, debt free. That makes a lot of sense. So you buy a house, you pay it off, you buy a house, you know, all this stuff. I did that. When I was becoming rich, Kim and I lived in a little house, was at the Hilton Hotel in Phoenix here. But my monthly payments total was $310 a month, and rent in the same house would have been $800 to $1,000. So it was really made a lot of sense to kind of live in a less expensive house. And with that extra money, we're buying apartment houses. And today, Kim and I have 10,000 apartment houses. So if you're middle class, you know, buy a little house, you know, pay it off, live debt free. So all of you who are middle class, it's live below your means and live debt free. So this is cut up your credit cards, get out of debt. See, that's very different, but that's great advice. The point here is this: if you can't do what Susie does and you can't do what Dave does, you shouldn't do what we do.
Right.
And that's the point here. If you can't do what Susie does and you can't do what Dave recommends, don't do what we do.
Small ebook, big impact, The Wealth Tree. The only 4 ways that will make you financially free forever. Download it here for free.